In this video, we're going to show you how we set this up and how it works, if it works. And if it does work, we're going to recommend it. So let's get cracking.
Don't be lazy now.
I'm never lazy.
Get off your behind.
How?
You're wasting time. Snaps to it.
When you get this filter and you try to start putting it together, it can be a little frustrating. That's why I kind of did it ahead of time. And I'll show you how it all goes together. But they only give you one slip of paper here. They tell you at the bottom, if you have any troubles, watch the installation video on the sales detail page, whatever that means. Well, I tried to go back onto Temu and see if there was a video, and there's no videos. So at least this one will be out there in the future. This is what I got it kind of looking like right now. Let me show you how it gets put together. Now, if you remember earlier, we showed you everything that was inside there, the media that comes with it. It's very dusty, so we took it all in, washed it all up, decided to put the media that came with it in with our goldfish. We have these ceramic blocks, a bag of ceramic media back here. It's just kind of different shapes and colors, as well as some bio balls. These are little plastic balls with foam inside of them. Of course, they're brand new, uncycled. We're putting this filter in to the pond here, replacing that tower filter I built. There's plenty of cycled media in it already, so we're just going to use that instead of what came with it. Now, as far as putting this thing together, I was pretty frustrated because it seemed to me like they didn't give me all the right pieces. Turns out they gave me some pieces that I'm not going to end up using. Basically, there's 3 layers. 1, 2, 3. And notice I've got them in order. So the top layer has holes in the bottom and 2 holes that are just kind of punched right in there. The second layer is the same, except there's only 1 hole right here. The bottom layer has no holes at the bottom. These are the outputs. They have molded sleeves on both sides because this is where the water comes out. In theory, the water gets pumped into this, trickles down through all the layers, and then comes out through here. When you get this, a lot of the things are stuck together and it just kind of looks random. This was already put together. This is a spray bar for the input. There are 3, I guess what you would call bulkheads. What troubled me is that they were all different. There's a straight one and 2 90s. But this 90 here is a lot bigger around, and that's what kind of threw me off because it's a lot smaller than some of the pipes. These 2 holes here are for an overflow. So if this top one, which is for mechanical filtration, if it starts to get blocked where it's not coming through the bottom holes, it's supposed to bypass and go down into that one. And they have a clear tube that lets you see when that happens. So I was thinking, well, I don't have the right size fittings for it because it'll fit into this one. It'll fit into this one, but it's straight. So how are you going to do that? Well, this one's a 90, but it's too big. And so I got really frustrated trying to figure it out. And finally I had an aha moment. This piece will go into here. That piece will go into there. It doesn't have to be tight. In fact, it's better that it isn't because the water will drain into that via gravity back into there. And when you take this piece off, you don't want to sit there and try and undo a fitting while taking this off to do any kind of maintenance. So I'll show you how it all kind of goes together. First of all, on the top one, you want to get your spray bar and the straight bulkhead. Now you'll see that there's a different length on each side. On these bulkheads, when you unscrew them, there's 2 silicone gaskets. You'll take off one. Now if you put the longer piece on this side, you'll quickly find that you'll have no room for that spray bar. It won't fit in there. So you'll want the longer piece on the outside. So you'll go ahead, at least what I did was attach it to here first. Make sure your silicone pad is on there and get the threads through that hole. Then you'll want to attach the other silicone ring to this side and screw it on there. You just gotta get this real snug. It doesn't have to be super tight because that'll form a nice seal. So now your spray bar is in place. Then you'll take one of these shorty, so there's a couple different size tubes. The bigger ones are for the output, but the output is always bigger than the input, just to make sure things don't overflow. I'm going to use one of the small pieces, stick that in there. This is all just tight form-fitting stuff. There is a couple of these white ends depending on what size input hose you're using from your pump. We're going to use the bigger one. And the smaller diameter of your 3 straight long ones with an elbow, place it on there. So this is going to be your input. Your water is going to be pumped in through there and out through the spray bar, down through your media. Now for your overflow, like I said before, the bigger of the two end ones, I'll show you here, these 290s, the bigger one goes on the bottom. The smaller one goes on top. And just like the other bulkhead, it has a couple of silicone rings. So you'll want to place that through this other hole. Put your silicone ring on. Thread that on. And make sure that 90 is pointing down, of course. I'm just going to hand tighten it. You could probably use pliers, but that's a little overkill. This tube is clear so that you can see when it's starting to overflow. Gives you a little indicator when it's time to change your mechanical filtration. Stick that tube on there and your first layer is done. Second layer, we gotta have our drain, and that's where that bigger opening one comes in. Of course, it's same old thing, very simple. Install that bulkhead into that hole here. Make sure you got one on one side, one seal on the other side. You want to try and make sure that's as straight up and down as possible. Just tighten her up by hand. So when that's on there, you go to put your top section on. This clear tube will rest down inside that. Very, very easy. Now they give you a couple long pipes. In the picture they show that take these pieces. These pipes are bigger. They form fit into here, and then you're supposed to put these on, this one on, and this one on both sides. And that lets the water come out. And that's if you're going to put this above your aquarium or pond. This one is going to sit like our other one. So for now, I'm just going to use this, turn it a little bit, direct the flow back into the pond. This is going to sit on that spool and drain the water back out. Of course, you just take your lid, sit it on top, and you end up having all these extra pieces to play with for later. Normal PVC, made in the USA, not compatible with this Chinese stuff. They do give you everything you need to set it up correctly. You just have to kind of figure it out, or like you're doing right now, watch this video and see how we did it. So now we're going to shut off that pump, get out of our chair. We're going to have to shut off this pump, let it drain, pull that media out, and we'll show you where it's going to go into the new filter. All right, now it's drained down. We had the pump off. I just got to get the stuff out of there. There's lots of fish poop and a spider or two. Not fond of spiders.
Not sure how they got in there because we sprayed.
Life finds a way. Hopefully I don't rub my chins against the microphone too much. We got to pull these plants out. Oh yeah.
Do you remember the name of those plants you're pulling out?
Wire vine.
Good job.
It's gotten big. This is the input on the current one here. Just gonna let that sit like so. Got a nice big tub to put this in. Heavy and gross. Oh yeah. So the new one's gonna sit on top of there. Looks really gross, but it's good for everything else. Hey, baby spider plant. So we got our new filter here. The top one's gonna hold our mechanical filtration. It's gonna be some fiber fill. This one's gonna be pot scrubbies. We're gonna put lava rock in the bottom of this one. Since it's not flowing through it, it just kind of pools up in there. The lava rock doesn't have as much flow through as the pot scrubbies do, so we're going to put the pot scrubbies in this one. For those who don't know what pot scrubbies are, it's the technical term for, I'll show you. Oh, this is the old Volker's biological tray here. As you can see, I've got some old Title 75 foam sitting in there. And these are pot scrubbies. You can buy them really cheap. They're just nylon pot scrubbers for washing dishes. Everyone knows that's been in the hobby a while that these make great biological filtration. Lots of spots for bacteria to grow. So I'm going to take them out, stack them inside of here. So that'll be great. That's perfect. I don't know if I can fit all of this in there, but let's see. It's pretty gross in there, huh?
Yummy.
Yummy. Just kind of put that down inside there. So that's going to sit in there like that. This one will go on top. Now we got to get our mechanical filtration set up. I think for now I'm just going to take this, turn it up like that. So I could put another sponge piece in there, but the one that I have cut for that, I want to leave it alone. It's a weird shape. I had to cut just for that drawer. This would be nice because it's square, but there's only so much thickness. To be honest, I don't have any more of the black sponge right now. I gotta get some more. So we're gonna use a combination of this polyfill fleece. It's kind of like a blanket, a matting, and some of this polyfill loose stuff. So let's cut a piece to put along the bottom there. I don't know if I should do a couple layers or just one. I want to put this in the bottom to keep the loose stuff from flowing through the holes. I'll just kind of free cut it a little bit. It's okay. You want to make it at least big enough to go across the bottom. If it's a little bigger, it'll just make kind of a cup. The plan is just kind of lay this down along the bottom here, and that will keep the loose polyfill from flowing through the holes too much. Take a nice handful of this stuff here. You've seen us use this all the time. This is a common thing to have. Just kind of stick it in there. And as always, you want to fluff it up. If you're not good at fluffing, hire a fluffer.
A fluffing fluffer?
There's a lot of people out there that their whole job, their whole career is just being a fluffer. At least I've heard. That looks pretty good. Move that back down. Now it's time to get it in place. I'm going to need a screwdriver, and not the kind with vodka. This part I haven't test fitted yet, so I'm hoping, ooh, that's going to be a tight fit. Let's see what happens. This is kind of a rigid tubing. Too small. Okay, do you want to grab me the other size of this? Put that on there. I'm going to have to cut that little flange part out that's been expanded. When you're building your own filtration systems, this is a handy tool to always have. A tubing cutter. This thing cuts through PVC, anything kind of a plastic tubing. It's a little overkill for airline. That stuff you can use a scissors on. I'm going to cut this off there. So that was kind of expanded to fit the other one. I think that's going to be, ooh, that's going to be perfect. Always remember to put your hose clamp on first, because you're not going to get it on afterwards. Slide that in there. Ooh, that's a perfect fit. and tighten up your hose clamp. Remember, if you're shaky, use the guidance of your other hand. Thank goodness for film editing. Get it on there snug, you don't want to crush it. The other end of this tube is connected to a marine land power head. I think it's rated at something like 500 gallons per hour or 400. Not sure. Maybe less than that. Now this tube seems to be kind of pushing up on that tray a little bit. If I turn this way a little bit, it kind of takes care of that. There we go. Time to dry your hands and plug it back in. Bought a big pack of these white terry cloth towels just used for fish keeping, exclusively for that. It's always nice to have towels in your fish room. Let's plug it in and see what happens. Moment of truth. Oh, it's pushing out all sorts of crap already. The size and the amount of holes in that spray bar and in each tray, I know can handle a lot more flow than what we're giving it right now. Seems to be flowing pretty good.
Good job, Temu.
Yeah. If this ever gets clogged up, the water is going to rise up, getting to the level of this tube, then flowing out through there, through this clear tube, and into the next level. And we'll be able to see that happening. We'll have a lid on this. You know, we could always take it off and check it, but just give us a quick, easy way of seeing if this mechanical filtration needs to be changed. So far, it's working great. It can more than keep up with this kind of flow rate. We'll stick the lid on top. What do you think?
I like it.
Yeah. It looks a little nicer than the do-it-yourself homemade one, and I think it's going to be a lot easier to maintain.
Yeah, the drawer's got a little heavy trying to pull them in and out.
To maintain it, I don't have to pull out a drawer. I can just flip the top, rotate that spray bar up, pull the stuff out, put new stuff in, fold it back down, and good to go. So that's it for the Temu box filter, trickle tower, whatever you want to call it. A lot of you guys have seen it out there. Of course, you've seen it on other channels. We just kind of wanted to show you our experience with it firsthand, how to set it up. Only time will tell if it's going to do a good job. So maybe we'll post an update in the future. We are excited about this purchase because it was very cheap. With all that hardware and all the media that came with it, it was a very good deal. Certainly going to make life a little bit easier maintaining this pond. So if you have any questions, leave some comments below. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. Oh wait, while you're here, take a look at a couple of these other videos. There's maybe one or two over here, maybe one more over here. And if you see our little white logo, tap on that. That'll help you subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.